I'm Max. What's your name?
Justin.
My name is Christian.
Avi.
Justin, what do you do for a living?
I work in software.
I'm an esthetician.
I am a customer service for Herschel.
I'm a filmmaker.
How much do you make a year?
I make just over 100 with some supplementary income.
Is that enough for Vancouver?
Yes, I think so. 60K?
If I have to estimate it, around like 35, 40K a year.
What's something that you would change about the city?
Somehow make things more affordable, such as living.
Definitely like up the minimum wage for sure.
If everyone was a little more open to conversing with each other, I think it'd be great.
Today, I'm in Vancouver, across the whole country from the East Coast to West Coast. The video we're doing is very interesting because we're going to discuss a concept of choices in the city. Another reason to love Vancouver is for this, my favorite seafood snacks only at Chinese grocery stores, which are ubiquitous around the city. And you know what? It tells me a lot about the character of the city because the fact that they have big grocery stores just for Chinese food, and they have everything from flowers to snacks like this to different processed foods and stuff like that. This diversity and this opportunity to have access to things makes the city quite expensive. So today I brought a Vancouverite into the frame of this camera, and we're filming with Tian, Rachel's boyfriend, who is a pro Vancouverite. You're gonna tell us about areas, bad, good, amazing, expensive, cheap, right? Let's start with the worst.
Okay, the worst areas. So if you're an international student, avoid East Hastings. That's basically Main and Hastings. I would say that's a drug-infested, more of a homeless population, transient population, so kind of avoid that area. The other worst areas, there's pockets in Surrey that may not be recommended to international students. The Wally area, try to avoid that because same issue as Main and Hastings in Vancouver, drug use, homelessness. Maybe you don't want to be around that area if you're kind of traveling late at night. Richmond is, I would say, one of the cleanest cities. A lot of options for food, great options for transit, and obviously there's KPU, TWU, and various little community colleges down there as well. In Burnaby, there's several areas in Burnaby that I think students should look at. Brentwood Mall, Metrotown Mall, Lougheed Mall. The best, I would say, Vancouver. So you have, Vancouver is made of the east side and the west side. East side is more affordable.
So I just came to West Vancouver, and behind me is a building. I just looked up the cost of apartments there for sale. They vary from $3 to $7 million depending on the size. And this is one of the most aspirational areas in all of the city. Everybody wants to be in West Vancouver. It's very desirable. Also, I heard that downtown Vancouver is great. It's more for the younger folks. This one is like a lot of mature people living here and kind of like old money vibe.
For a one-bedroom basement suite or a studio, you can probably look at $1,100 to $1,300 around there. A two-bedroom apartment, on my guess, should be about $1,700 to $1,900.
Can I get a house, like a 4-bedroom house, and then share it?
That's definitely one of the choices most students try to do. They rent a whole house and they share it amongst other friends or other couples or other students that they meet.
We're in beautiful Whistler with my friend Prab, and this scenery really inspired me to have a conversation, a real, genuine conversation with her. She's lived in the city for quite a while, went from an international student to now a permanent resident and also a business owner. I wanted to ask you, what makes you stay in the city? Why haven't you left already? Because it's so expensive.
When I came as an international student, I used to think that I should leave this city because it was so difficult to afford the price and rent, and everything was really difficult. It was a lot to take in. But I choose to stay here because I know for sure that this city has a lot to offer as opportunities and connections. And today, after 5 years living here, I feel that it was definitely worth staying here.
What I'm hearing from a lot of people that have just moved is that they are struggling. So it's a very similar story where they feel that perhaps it's better to move to another province or leave Canada whatsoever. Though when I speak to people like Prab who've lived here for a while, they all say that it's worth it. The investment has a good return, and that's what matters, I think. What do you think?
That's true, that's completely true. If I would have moved to a smaller province like Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia or Winnipeg, I would have grown in the money wise, I would have saved a lot, buy real estate or house. That's like the ultimate goal of everybody. But what about my personality? As a person, I would have not grown because I wouldn't have those opportunities or connections or inspiration, because in the city you meet a lot of people who are doing much more than you doing right now.
But also think about your own objectives and your own goals. If you have a family, you want a stable life, you want it to be low paced and without too many challenges, why not choose a smaller place? But Vancouver really has a lot to offer for ambitious people, I think.
That's completely true. It's really good for the people who know what they want, and the city can really get you what you want in long run.
Otherwise, it's Halifax.
That's for sure.
In case you guys didn't know, a fun story about me, I used to live in Queenstown, New Zealand, and Whistler, where we are now, is very similar in terms of the environment. Mountains, we have the ocean here. I used to commute just like this using a gondola every day to work, which would take me like 15 minutes. Then you take in all of this beautiful scenery. People here are definitely appreciative of that, and I can tell how much they take advantage of going around using bikes, commuting. There's a whole cult here around Teslas, Lululemon leggings. So if you want to fit in, here's your secret. It's very difficult to beat this view. I think my restaurant today is probably worth a Michelin star just for the view, not for the food, because let me show you, I'm cheating today. This hot dog and the fries, ooh, you're not having that in Vancouver if you want to fit in the crowd. Guess what? You are a product of your environment, and I felt guilty about all that fast food, so I had to go get a smoothie. Now I feel like I'm a part of this culture. Today is Saturday, which means tomorrow we're doing the meet and greet finally in Vancouver. Excited to meet you guys to talk about your experience moving to Vancouver. I know there's going to be a lot of you who've just moved to the city, who moved to Canada recently, and those of you who've lived here for years. So sharing those thoughts and actually understanding how one can benefit from another, I think that's the most valuable part of it. Super excited for it. Over 6 months. Yeah. Okay, perfect. There you go. So you are now Canadians. I think it's important to. It's important to realize this is why I called the channel on Canada, because it's we are all a part of this country. You are contributors to the economy in one way or another. You're gonna fly Canadians around the country, right? We have a pilot, so that's very beautiful. Something I shared during the meetup is that us immigrants deserve to have access to financial tools we need. Do you remember the apartment building I shared with you in West Vancouver? We deserve to have access to apartments like that, to houses of our dreams. I don't think it should be out of reach for us. We immigrants go through so many challenges to get to Canada that buying something of that nature should definitely be 100% a possibility for us. Now I'd like to ask you for one thing only. Please pause this video, let me know in the comments below if this platform is something you need, so I know there is demand for it and we can start working on it. Also, if you're watching this video way in the future, check the description below, because in the video description there might be a link to the platform if it's already built. And if you're a financial institution watching this, reach out. Let's build the future together. Starting a business as an immigrant is very challenging. And Lucy started a coffee shop in Vancouver, one of the most expensive cities in Canada. Now something I guess a lot of people want to know is how profitable this business is. Have you calculated the profits?
9,000 a month.
9,000 a month.
Yeah, I'm expecting
Okay.
9,000.
So does that cover your operational costs, rent, and also running everything, supplies?
Yeah.
So your monthly operational cost is what? Do you know?
I think it's gonna be half of my revenue.
How much did you have to invest in starting the coffee shop? So 20,000, that was the initial cost, right?
Initial cost, and I think extra more.
I wanted to really find out what it took to get it up and running, like the preparation you had to go through, and perhaps permits you had to get. So if I want to start a coffee shop, Lucy, in BC, what do I need?
Proposal plan is most important to have a permit and business license. And business license with working with the city, Vancouver City Hall, or federal government, which is British Columbia. And the other thing is food permit. You have to work with Vancouver Health. So both permit is permissibility difficult to deal with that. But I would say health is the most difficult.
Soyo Cafe, definitely check it out if you haven't yet in East Vancouver, because you're getting 10% off as a viewer of this channel. We decided to stop by at a little coffee shop in the marina area. We have the yachts here, a beautiful view with mountains, the ocean, everything, and just grab some stuff. Just for you to see the prices, I paid $34 for 2 coffees, 2 sandwiches, which is the same as any other big city pretty much. You go to Montreal, Toronto, Halifax, where I'm from, you pay the same price essentially, but look at these little cuties. Look at what I got, an elk. This is what happens when you come to Canada. You flip a coin. Either you're from a wealthy background or not so much, but regardless of that, you're starting from scratch in a new city. It's a new chapter that you're writing for yourself, and I wanted to be successful. So how can we do it in one of the most expensive cities? Just for a reference, you need 10,000 of these quarters to afford an average 2-bedroom apartment in the city, which is over $2,500 Canadian a month. Even though that number might sound like a lot, think about the abundance of opportunities the city offers. Think about why it's so expensive. Think about the money that flows in the city. In my opinion, from the insights I got, I attended a conference here, I realized that it's all about the connections that you have, the network that you have built for yourself.
If I were to sum it up in one word, it's network. So you really have to put yourself out there. I mean, you already moved to a new country, so that this minor adjustment shouldn't be too cumbersome for you. So learn to reach out through LinkedIn, download apps like meetup apps.
You won't believe what happened today. I got to see the Queen of Vancouver, Rachel Ardinsel, the YouTuber who dominates the city, who knows a lot about it. So who, if not you, ask about the best industries to go into if you're deciding to move to Vancouver?
I would say in Vancouver, there's a booming tech industry, so careers like software engineering, IT professionals would do really well, especially on the immigration side of things, where there are generous immigration pathways for that, given that the BC PNP tech pilot program is already in motion. In terms of business or finance related jobs are also a good option to look at, because there are some big financial juggernauts here, such as TD, RBC, Scotiabank. Although their main industry is in Toronto, a lot of them are also based here in Vancouver.
How is healthcare?
Healthcare is actually, yes, it's underrated, but it's definitely a dire need, especially given that we're facing COVID situation right now. So that's definitely up there.
As you have guessed it, I've come to the Art Gallery of Vancouver and I got a lot to show you. 2018, Balenciaga came to Vancouver to do a show. I guess this tells a lot about the diversity and the interest of the city in fashion, which is very important to a lot of people. This particular room in the art gallery is dedicated to the people that used to live here, the natives of BC. And I think the government is doing such a great job of preserving their culture and showcasing that, yes, this is our roots. Wow, so many stories in this video, yet one that didn't make it into the video was my friend's MC's story. She went from a broke international student to now a very successful 6-figure business owner who made it to top 10 BC startups, competing against companies with multi-7-figure valuations. All this goes to show that every day we make choices that shape our future. So today, let's make that choice wisely and let's consider a lot of different factors before putting a label on a city and saying that it's the most expensive. So why are thousands of people still choosing to call Vancouver their home? Think about it before you consider where to move in Canada. Please let me know your thoughts on this video. I'd really appreciate to see some comments down below, especially on the platform to give immigrants access to financial tools and education they deserve. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and I'll see you next Sunday.